Hello there. I am trying to figure this stuff out. I'm getting there though. I am Kat Hobson. You are listening to Paranormal Experience with me, and I am so glad you're here. I had a great trip to Scotland. I am very glad to be home. I have been fooling around with dogs and puppies and getting to fool around with grands here soon. And I'm going to be heading down to the Gulf Coast and hanging out with Lori. But I have got such a good show tonight. It is Mark Fults. He is one of my favorite people, not just in the paranormal, but he's just one of my favorite people. He is a brilliant psychic, and I've really never known one like him. He is a complete metaphysician. He does channeling, which will blow your freaking mind. He does he does a little bit of everything really. He is a great psychic. He is a great channel. He is a great medium. He is he's just a little bit fun. So, without further ado, let's find him because I'm doing this. I'm not sure where Carl is tonight. We're just hoping he's okay. And hello, Mark.
Hi there. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, but I'm not seeing you.
Oh.
So, I'm not sure what's up with that.
Oh, well, as long as you can hear me.
Oh, hang on. There we are.
Oh.
Hello.
Time for.
Oh, you're fine.
Wait a minute. Time for. This is what you do after, before, after.
I know. Tell me, I was just.
Let's get them put their foot on the back of my head and pull.
You're the same age I am, which is fun, right? But I said we're the same age, so it's a lot of fun.
But men age a little bit more, and I've been drugged. I'm getting that.
Well, if I did that, I would look like that too. I'm focusing on up and out.
Yes, I am too. I'm like, I've got my Louis Vuitton luggage right here.
Tell me about it. It's so funny because when we came home a couple of weeks ago, instead of flying over the Atlantic and coming straight to Atlanta, we took the route around, Nova Scotia, the Arctic area, and then came down through Quebec, came across the U.S., and I'm like, this is going to add 2 hours. It did. So I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. But I did get to see icebergs.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
I had no idea. And
yeah.
I mean, I still haven't seen one like up close and in person, but from the air was pretty wacky.
Yeah, I did when I went to Germany in 1980. We flew over. I think we flew over Greenland and all that. And we got to see some beautiful, beautiful icebergs. In the water, and that just incredible. I mean, just amazing.
Well, you and I don't come from where they have those.
Yeah,
we do not come from where those live.
My husband was telling me they found. She was watching anything where they thought they found a pyramid in the Antarctic. So it's like, well,
yes,
I think they're
actually everywhere.
They're everywhere. They were everywhere. Working at one time.
Well, the interesting thing is when I went to that conference in Arkansas this year, there was a gentleman from, oh, come on. It's not Bolivia. Bolivia is South America. But it was in the UK, not the UK, it was in Europe. And it's going to come to me in the middle of the show, right? But it's one of the places that my husband would absolutely say, no, that is a war-torn area. You're not going there. Yeah. So Bosnia, thank you, Lori. But he still, Serbia, Bosnia, he would not let me go right now. But they are. And students are going to help clear it. And they had video of like a light shaft coming out of it. and I thought, ooh, coming out, not going in. So
There was,
now,
yeah. I
well,
mean, well, what do you expect?
I mean, you know about that stuff. I mean,
Well, I don't know
you know
all
that.
about it, but I know a lot. I know what I think, about stuff like that. I don't
Yeah.
think they were like the pyramid of Giza. I don't think it was used to store weight. You know,
No.
I
Or
do know
just
that.
bodies. Hey,
Hmm?
Tom McNicholas. Or said, or bodies, not just
Yeah.
bodies.
Well, it had. Well, I mean, it was an energy source. They had
Yeah.
water and everything there at that time. I mean,
Yes,
it was a lush area that went dry in a century, which is like a blip in
it
time.
is.
It went from being a lush place to being what it is now. So,
Yes. Not
but it,
so.
but if they had all the water and everything, I think they would see. It functions. It's a tool. I mean, it's
Well,
a
it
functional
is.
thing like
And,
everything
you know,
else.
I found it interesting because when I first started researching them, I was, everybody's like, oh, well, they align with the, Orion's belt. I was like, well, but not all year
Yeah.
because Orion's belt moves so much. And I'm very excited because it's back over my house now. I'm like,
Oh,
yay.
okay.
So I get to
Well,
see it in the mornings again. I miss it when it's gone.
yeah.
But except that it gets cold when it's here. So there's that
Well,
balance.
yeah.
But I was everything's about balance, isn't it?
It should be.
It should be.
If it ain't, I mean, whether we think about it or not, it will balance itself at some point. The pendulum swings one way and the other, and then meets back in the middle. So,
Yeah.
it'll all balance out.
Well,
But
I'm going to take that to heart for everything. I'm going to
uh,
hold you to that too.
well, I
So,
mean, everything always goes to an extreme. Extreme
yeah.
good, extreme bad, and then boom, right back in the middle. And
Yeah.
if you stand in the place long enough and can handle it, you'll see it fall back into place.
Well,
But
yeah.
you know, but I was going to say on the pyramid, I knew a pretty well known witch back in 45 years ago who said that they were saying that there was they'd been told that the inside of the pyramid, that there's a part of it that turns on its own, so at some specific time. So I'm like, well, that could be possible.
Well, that would be interesting. What was the purpose of the turn?
I don't. He know. Well, I was a neophyte then, so he didn't tell me a whole lot of stuff. He told us that, but he didn't tell me what it was. Well, and whether he knew or not what it was supposed to be for. A lot of them would do this.
Sure.
You know, you know
Um,
nothing. I know everything, and it's like they didn't know. But he said
yeah.
they had told him that there was a piece in it that turned on its own. And but I ain't never heard that story from anywhere else. And if it had its outer coating and had the crystal and gold cap,
Yeah.
it would make sense why there would be a mechanism inside that would be turning, but it probably was turned by water or turned by something, um, or turned by the electromagnetic fields. Who knows? I don't know. But I never heard that story anywhere else, so I'll put that one here.
Well,
And
that
then,
is pretty interesting, though, because a friend of mine who has done a pretty good bit of research um, came to the conclusion that it was actually a water pump because the Nile
mhm.
ran closer to it, which is how
Well,
they were able to get the.
the
So,
water source, because if you look at
yeah,
the Sphinx, it's been worn down by water, And
Hmm.
so the water was used as, the metal and the water and everything. It could have been a battery, it could have been a communication device, it
There's
could be a
theories about
light
that too.
bulb, yeah. So
Yeah, about the
you know,
battery.
it could very well be a battery, but I think it was probably to it could be like landing strips. It could have been uh something they could send light out, or send signals out, or
Yeah.
who knows. I'd have to
Well,
talk to one of my old selves and see.
I would like that,
I don't
but
know.
I
I
will
don't think
tell
it
you,
would. Go ahead.
after seeing you channel an outside individual, I bet seeing you channel you would be interesting.
I don't know. I probably just
I
found
don't know
out
what I'm.
I'm just reincarnated from a bunch of rednecks.
Oh,
Uh,
please,
redneck
ditto.
bitches and rednecks. But no, actually, I have people who most of my people came from, well, England,
Me too.
Welsh, Dutch, um, and then here, there's some Apache, there's some, other things like that.
I didn't know
But
you had
mostly,
Apache.
oh yes,
That
my
explains a
daddy.
lot.
My, I guess
Well,
it does. Well, my
it
dad
does.
looked like one. It was kind of like a family kind of thing, but it explains so much, about my grandmother's family.
Yeah.
And my father looked like one. He was 6'4", big, tall, bony. Very, very strong, very temperamental. And I have a very bad temper.
No,
Um, oh yeah, I want to chase people down the street, smack their head while they're running.
I've never done that
Um,
before.
and if they're lucky, I'm disabled enough where I can't do it, because
You're so funny.
I want to grab people up and smack them. And that's the way it was in our house. It's just, if they were mad at something, it didn't matter if it was you or not. You
Stay out
take
of
the
reach,
car
right?
and grab your butt, and they grab your butt.
Yeah.
But they acted like Apache. They were very much that way. So, but a lot of the things, like, and then we have relatives, who some of the Romani. I have a little bit of Romani,
I could
but a
see
lot
that.
of English and Dutch and Welsh and Irish. And so, which I want to go to Ireland and Scotland and
I would
Wales.
love to go to Ireland. I
Yes,
would love to go to Wales.
well, see, I want to go to Wales because I want to go to Aberfan, go to the memorial for that, where the children are buried. And because that actually, the first metaphysical book I remember reading when I was like 8, 9, had the story about Aberfan, and it
Right.
was all the psychic stuff that was going on, because all these people were going to therapists and psychiatrists because they were having these premonitions about people being buried in this blackness. And then, the Aberfan happened. And I mean, even there's a little girl, I think her name was Sharon, that told her, woke up like the week before and told her mom, said, "I'm not afraid to die." And then, I mean, it was a cold tip that came down and covered the town, covered, I think 116 children were killed in the schoolhouse, and, just, 20, 30 adults. It was hideous, and hideous. But I've
That
always,
was all of the children in the village, wasn't it?
pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was just a few that lived through it, that were caught in it. There were other children, I think, that were in the parts of school that were able to get out, but mostly it wiped out a whole generation, of
Yeah.
children. It took them a while to be able to get back, and I thought, I can't imagine. Um,
I don't
but I
think I would
wonder.
want to go there.
But I want to go there. I want to go to the memorial. I want to at some point. I want to try and do a spirit. If it look at it and see if it do a spirit rescue
Oh,
on Japan.
yeah, I was going to
But
say you would be good at that.
but it's what my dream. One of my things in the future. Because I got a window. I got a pot and I got a window. I just gotta get the window open. Is I want to possibly do an Ireland, Scotland, Wales haunted castle trip tour and be the psychic and go on and we can go and investigate and you know do the um do seancing and stuff like that and see what we can find. So
You
I
would
think
be
that would
so
be
good
fun.
at that.
I would love it.
Oh, you would be. You would be
I think it would be
amazing,
great.
actually.
That would be great because when I went to Germany when I was 18, with a school trip, um, the whole reason that I was going, because they promised me I could go in a castle. There, it was on the itinerary,
Right?
and we were on the bus, go on the tour bus in Germany, and I think we were going to Hamburg, and the little girls that were cheerleaders were going, we don't want to go see an old castle. We want to go to a mall. And
Oh,
that was the first
God.
time I stood up and I said, look, I came, all this way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see a castle. And
By
so
Jingo.
we went and saw a castle. That was the first time I thought, oh, I will pitch a fit. And I loved every second of it. Um,
Yeah.
but I would love to go to, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and my cousin would love to go on it because we have a lot of Scottish and Irish.
Yes.
So it would be, and actually, one of her relatives, she's a Seton, and there's a Seton Castle, so
Hmm.
we want to go see Seton's Castle. But I thought, well, I think if I could find a way to put together, I've been talking to my friend Sen Shredder Hill about
Right.
doing do a tour, do a haunted castle tour divorce, and then do psychic events all along the way, and then just have a great time, have fun, get and make money, and do it, and have fun, and talk
Yes.
to ghosts, and talk to them European ghosts.
Well,
So
I'm going to tell you, Scottish ghosts are fun.
oh yeah, I'm sure they are.
So,
They're probably full of vim and vigor.
well, they're because I don't have what you have, and I want to say hi to Melinda and Raymond too. By the way, thanks for being here. Um, but just the experiences of watching the hauntings in a location there is so much fun. It's
It's yeah, it's a whole well with Teal when she went to York and came back, got the crap scared out of her in
which is
York.
unusual. Teal does not scare easy,
No,
so
and
that was pretty
it just
strange.
took her by surprise because it was so vivid. And then when I connected to the spirits, it was amazing, and they were ready to communicate, ready to create communication systems. I created a whole line of boards
Oh my
for
gosh!
talking that are wild. I mean, they're wild, and but they're for complete communication, and because they're tired of sitting there going, knock,
I
knock, knock.
know that would be so
Like,
boring if you were
there's
trying
a
to
word,
communicate that way.
They're like, use a sentence, So it was a whole different ball field because it's so old. I mean, really, as a nation, we're here. We're
We're
going on.
babies.
Yeah. So we're babies, and those
But
spirits
as
have had a
this
whole.
nation,
Yes,
I mean, we've had people here as long as they have,
have,
but
but
as far
as
as
far as
being a
developed,
civilized nation,
well, to
it's
develop, to anything that would want
developed.
to talk to us,
Yeah.
So, but over there, it was pretty established. So they're a whole different kettle of fish, but and not as hard to communicate with. I mean, boom,
Really? Why
Ooh,
do you think that is? I mean,
probably just
because
because
they
of the age and the
because they've
openness
been doing it
there,
so long.
and it's just more accepted.
That's
I think
true.
in
It
Europe,
certainly
I
is in
mean,
Scotland.
oh, people just are like, oh yeah, whatever, yeah, we got
Yeah.
goats. We don't bother them; they don't bother us. And and here it's you just have a lot of the mentality of people who are fascinated with ghosts, but they don't want to believe in them, or they don't
Yeah.
believe, no matter what you do, you could pull Nova Scotia out of your barrier and they'd still go, well, I don't know. You know, it's,
That's true.
like, you don't know, because I mean,
And it doesn't
I've been
matter.
at,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it doesn't matter what kind of evidence you present.
No,
I've had clients that, doing a home investigation and cleaning who were just like, oh no, no. I see that video. I hear that recording.
but
Oh, I saw that move in your video, but I don't think we're haunted. Well, then why did you call?
well, they
you
can't,
know,
but see, they also can't handle it, you know,
no,
and
they
it's like
can't. It's
if
very
you
frightening
if you can't
for them.
handle it, then you need to learn, but that's what, psychics can come in and clean the house, maybe, turn it down where they aren't having so much. They had you
Yeah,
there to do something. They had you
exactly.
there for a reason.
Yeah.
And I've sat there and shown people stuff, and then still had people in the group go, yeah, I don't blame.
I don't know about all that. Yeah.
And so it's yeah, and that's where, in my older age I've had to go, oh, here, let me, let me help you.
Yeah.
Um because it's like the sound of the door closing is louder than the ghost.
Yeah.
Um or yeah, it just gets crazy, crazy.
Well, it
And
does.
but for some people, and then the ones who really are interested in it, they're, as long as you don't allow the naysayers who are going to naysay anything anyone says, who
Yeah.
are, they think that's some kind of intelligence to go, no, 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 no. And I'm like, how about yes, 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 let's look at it. If there's something
At least
happening,
take a look. Yeah.
there's something happening.
Yeah.
It Look at it. What is it? Is it, if it's not caused by, things in the atmosphere around you or whatever, is it a phenomena? What's causing that phenomena? And psychic phenomena, I mean, when I remote view to people's places, you remember one time I had
I
to,
do.
we won't tell the details, but I came to your house. I
Hmm.
remote viewed to your house and would snap to come in
Yeah.
and to look. And I
Yeah.
came and looked, and one time I was checking up, and I just did it without thinking. And later on, he went, "Were you here?" I went,
yeah.
"Sorry, I was making sure it was totally gone."
Yeah.
And so but you know, and it's just a part of it. But as a psychic, you get used to it. So, but I think what happens is people in the modern world,
As it
want
were.
to think that that's primitive. And
Yeah.
it's like, but we're primitive. We are from something very old, and we have all the tools we need to look into our past and to look into our future and to look into what's going on around us. And science doesn't answer a fraction of the things that there are. So when people go, well, it ain't proved by science, well, big whooping what? Big whoop. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, Come back to me when science cures the cold.
Yeah.
Come back to me when science cures not, I mean, not just um, treats, cures.
Yeah.
Can't come back to me. And, when we can go underwater as easily as we can go to the moon, we
Yeah.
can't. And
Don't
why?
you find that don't you find that part fascinating though? Because we have developed all this technology to go up. We
We can't.
send one, I mean, well, you know, and I know why we don't go down because
Yeah,
nobody will cope with that.
no.
And if we can handle the pressurization changes returning from space, because that would be very similar to going
Similar
deep.
to going deep down.
Yeah,
It's like,
those changes would be the
why?
same.
And I always bring it up and go, well, they promised, when I was a kid, science fiction promised us flying cars by now. Can you
Yeah,
imagine drunk rednecks? And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Can you imagine a drunk redneck flying a flying car in
I
traffic?
can.
I
I
can too.
can.
And I'm like,
Yes.
but at least we don't have a flying car. But when I was a kid, they thought by this time it would all be the
The
Jetsons,
Jetsons.
and it's like, yeah,
Jeez.
maybe not so much. And they're still
Yeah.
now people are fighting to get to the moon, to get to this, and to what? Booger it up? What's big
Well, I
dick?
mean,
You know,
the moon is so passe. I mean, we've been
well,
there, done that.
and then it's like the other planets they want to go to. That's why if there's something out there, they won't want us out there. We're like the white trash relatives. They don't want us coming all
If
wired and
they have
screwing
visited
out.
our planet, they do not want us there.
They do
And not to
not
mention
want
the
us there.
fact that we are, pretty much batshit crazy too. So,
What would make you think
excuse my
that?
French.
What would make you
But
think that? We're crazy, and it's like, and sometimes I'm like, come on down, eat us. Who cares?
I like being
I think
here.
we've,
I don't want to go yet, but
I think we've reached our epitome, the peak of development at the moment,
we
because
seem to
this
be
is,
regressing.
yeah, we are regressing. It always seems to get to a certain point and then it regresses, but then
Yeah.
that kind of goes back to the stories of like the Tower of Babel. They were building a
Yes.
tower trying to get to the angels, the people
Yeah.
up there, and they had little, and then the people went zap, and they had different languages because they were trying to develop, get to them, outgrowing their bridges.
Yeah.
And when we get too far, then it becomes chaotic in the way of humanity cannot, or certain types of humanity cannot handle. They want to stay base. They want to stay
Yes.
primitive. They want to stay me, man, me, caveman. And
Yes.
you woman, me man, me, that crap. And
Yeah.
at this time, what when I was a kid, I thought, by the time I get to be 60, I mean, everyone will be able
Yeah.
to, pretty well do what they need to do, want to do, live their life, and make pretty reasonable decisions and not be doing all this bullying crap. And it's like being in
Just
third
living.
grade. It is
Just
just
living.
like being in third grade. I went to a school where for me it was like the blackboard jungle because it was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And so right now it's like being back in it, with bullies and people trying to take away this and take away that and put people here, put people there. And it's like, you didn't create us. So, you know, it's all about who dies with the biggest pile of stuff. And it's
Well,
like, damn deal.
yes,
And the Egyptians died with a lot of stuff, and did it help them? Not really.
not a bit.
Not a bit. I
You know, I
mean,
went to relevant to that. I went
yeah.
to a an exhibition in Vegas this summer that was stuff that was taken from a pyramid.
Mhm.
And I can't remember which king it was, but it was so interesting because they took their people with them. you know,
Yeah, of
it's
course. I mean,
but
and they would take servants and everybody, horses,
they
animals,
did, and it
wives.
was yeah, multiples. So
Multiple.
I was. I think that we've gotten past the he who has the most toys wins. There's a lot of people with a lot of toys now.
Yeah.
Now I don't even know what it is, but I know that I am so frustrated with our lack of humanity that
Well, yeah, but
I
it will
mean,
collapse
and
on itself.
well, it's all cyclic, but I don't like this part of the cycle.
No,
And I really don't care what your political outlook is.
oh, it,
Kindness and humanity is the part that matters.
yeah,
And that's what people keep checking at the door, you
yeah,
know, and you don't
well,
get to operate in a vacuum without bringing that with you. I don't
yeah.
think. That's my
Well,
opinion.
well, today I posted, a little thing that said, kindness is not a weakness, and
Yep.
bullying hate is not a strength.
I saw that. You're right.
And is, and I have to confront it all the time with people. And it's
Right.
like, it's just, you know and you need to be peaceful at this time as much as possible, but there is a point where you have to say, this is, you have to be flexible, but you have to be strong,
You do.
because
But it's
the thing with
never
the
okay to but
yeah,
I'm just because in my opinion, what happened this week was the absolute base of humanity. I mean, it's just
yeah,
like never ever is that okay.
no, it
And
is,
I keep hearing people say, and I think that what we say matters,
of course,
but I think it doesn't matter nearly as much as what we do.
of course,
And I understand anger and I understand frustration and I understand, you know, getting your knickers in a twist because somebody's not acknowledging what you think is important, but they're not acknowledging what you think is important. So you're going to have yin and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
But never, ever, ever is it okay to have the week that we've had.
No,
And
no,
I'm so upset because, and you understand this stuff better than I do, but
well,
I don't. Well, I mean, because you understand humanity better, because you've got more insight from different realms. I take it that you would,
I
but
try. I try. Well,
yeah,
the first thing that happened after the big tragedy that happened earlier was
right,
then I saw people going, people are going to pay, people are going to
yeah,
pay, and get themselves to go mad to go at someone that, look, what happened was hideous, but guess what? It, you know, nobody else did that. A certain
no,
person did that.
yes,
And you can't put all your hate into a bowl and take it out on someone else because you're just mad. Well, tough. You know what? Guess what? Life is
no,
hard.
direct it where it should be. I
Direct it
mean,
where it be, but they need
you
to
don't
they need
direct
to
it,
figure
just
out
you don't
themselves.
spew it.
Yeah, but it's going to
The
cause.
spewing is where the danger is.
There are so many people want to start civil war and do this and that and the other, and it's like, because it's out of their reach.
Yes.
And instead of raising themselves up, they would rather go back down into the dirt. It's like when
Yes.
I was talking earlier this week to someone, I was it? It's the darkness breaks everything down. It's a necessary thing. It creates dirt.
Right.
Darkness eats, and it eats people, it eats everything, and it turns them into soil. And the
Yes.
light, we are the spirit, we are planted in the soil, and then the light turns us into whatever we are. And
Right.
but we have growth out of the darkness. The problem is
That's
there's a
true,
lot of
because
people
that's
right
where
now, they like the darkness. And
they embrace it.
the darkness only eats. It only eats. It doesn't really give, it takes. And it
Yes.
has its own purpose, it has its own thing. But if you make it your God and Savior, then it will eventually just eat you.
Yeah.
Um, the spirit, the mind, the consciousness is light and energy, but it needs
I
its
know,
roots
right?
in the soil, and it needs
Yes.
the darkness because we have minerals in our body. We are vehicles made from the darkness,
Yeah.
and then we have the light running the car, driving the car. So of course we have to fight both natures, but but I see so many people just going right for the dark, you know,
By
and
choice.
reaching into it to embracing it,
By choice.
thinking it's going to give them. It doesn't give. And if you look at
No.
the people that are rich and famous that are kind of in that kind of thing, they're
Mhm.
never happy.
No.
It's always this because it's eating them. And
Well,
they have
because
to
it's more,
forget
more, more, more
it's more,
Seymour, more
more.
Seymour. I mean,
And
it's
then,
really
yeah, well,
totally.
the things like this, we won't say the name, but the person that died in prison, all that stuff over. It's like he was rich, he wasn't a bad looking person. Sex was not enough, so it had to be defilement that made, and then it
Yeah.
became they made a ritual out of it, and they made, and it became their their altar. And people
Yes.
who turn into the darkness, nothing's ever enough. It's that regular happiness. There is no regular happiness. Nothing will
No, and
fulfill.
there's no satiation. There's
No,
no, and
there's, because it's
what's
eating
amazing,
everything.
yes, and and the problem with that is that it's not just our era. It's been time immemorial. I mean,
Yeah,
it's been forever, and it seems to always flow that way. And then it's like, oh, the nature stops it, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, human nature somewhere it gets the brakes put on it, and then we move back into the, oh well, we must have rules, we
a
must have this,
reason.
we must have that, and so then we build back to Puritans,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then it comes back down. I mean, because we can't seem to find a happy medium to stay at.
no,
you know, get to
no.
that point and then be okay there.
Well, with
So
people, and I came out
respect
of
that.
a very repressed
Yes.
time in a repressed house that was repressed in a certain way, and then underneath it all, it was freaky.
Yeah.
And there's a certain need for restraint in your own
Hmm.
life to say, I don't need that drug. I don't need that drink. I don't need this. The only way you get that is by knowing I can I have self-control. I don't need that.
Exactly.
Uh, right now, where we're at is there's so much of much and more that
Yeah.
people have quit telling their kids, don't do that,
No.
you'll get hurt, and mean it. And
Yeah.
you know, when they argue with their parents, they do this. They need to know the boundaries, because if they
Yeah.
don't, they got to know there's a consequence for putting your hand in the oven. There's a consequence for running in the street in front of a car.
Yeah.
And we've lost that. People quit. People don't know how to say no anymore and mean it.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to listen and go, oh, yeah, maybe it's a good idea to not push.
Yeah.
And that comes from going, who we are as people, you finding your center, finding
Yeah.
out who am I. When you die, that's pretty much the first question you kind of get is what did you learn? Who are you? Your life is downloading, so you're seeing it all going. And it's like, well, her were you? And so, because it's all to you, it's your learning thing. But as a
Hmm.
living person, we have to learn to live our lives
Yeah.
in a way where we're purposely going, well, this is what I'm need to do, and I need to do it. And I'm just seeing people right now, it's like spoiled brats going, I want it now. I don't want to have to deal with it. I just want it and be given to me because I deserve it because I'm fabulous. And
Yeah.
it's like, good for you, but it's not quite going to happen that way. And you know, uh, you have to get your priorities, and you have to, but empathy is another thing. Something that I really realized in a way when I was a little, I loved how I'm a Halloween freak.
My
I mean,
daughter is.
all year long is Halloween anyway.
Yeah.
But we're all live. But it was one of our social things where you would know your
Hmm.
neighbors. You go to your door, and we knew all of our
Yeah.
neighbors, and
Get the
and that
popcorn balls. Yeah. And you
and
could
now,
actually eat the popcorn balls.
yeah, you can actually eat it without worrying about eating a razor blade or a knife or a pen or a needle or drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
And people have created Facebook and things like that as a way of knowing people, but you really don't know people.
You do not. I
And
mean,
but that's
and
the
people, but
desire.
people are gullible and feel like
Oh,
that's,
please. We all
I
know.
mean,
I mean, I know. We all know.
yeah.
I have known several women right now that fall for these scams, that they think these
Yes.
guys are going to come and love them, and they're going to come and get them. But oh, I'm stuck on a ship and I need $30,000 and send it to me.
Yes.
That kind of crap. I've had, what cracks me up on Facebook is when these people will send the fake things, and they'll send the pictures of the women with the big boobs and stuff, like it's kind of, and they'll go, hello, how are you? I'm like, barking up the wrong tree, honey.
No doubt.
And I'm like, go find out
But
someone
then
else.
they haven't looked at your stuff.
No. Or that, well, even if they did, they don't care. They'll call you and they'll go, or they'll, these people cry things, and you go, first of all, you ain't a woman, and I know,
Yeah.
or, when I tell them stuff, when scammers call or anything, I give them horrible times.
Do
And,
you really?
oh, horrible, horrible. And one time they would call me back and go, they would have other people go, listen to this one. And because I would drag them on. I would drag them with their own thing. But then
That's fun.
right now I'm like, cuss them out like a sailor, which is something I would never do. But I'm like, they call you, because I had to get insurance not long ago. So all the scammers have
Yeah.
my number. And they'll call from a different number each time. And if and then they change their phones and change their numbers, their phone, da, da, da,
Yeah.
da, da. And so if you block them, they're going to get you with another number anyway. So
Yes, they
I
do.
just scorched the earth when, but what I love to do, because I mean, I've had people with me go, Mark, and I'm like, well, they're scamming
They
old
called me.
people. They're
Yeah.
stealing from old people, and
Yes, they
they're
are.
dumb enough to call me, and I'm not going to call them on it, please.
Yeah.
And I love it how all their names are. My name is John. My name is Alex. My name is
Yeah.
Susan. It's like no. Um, so it's like, and but I've gone along with some of their things and let them figure out, I got them.
Yeah.
And but and there's some that'll call, and as soon as they realize it's me, they hang up because they know they're going to get burnt. But they have a quota, so they keep repeating the numbers because there are people who will believe them and give them
Yes.
cards. I had a friend who the other day or the week, because she called me because they called her saying she had won the Publishers Clearinghouse
Oh no.
millions of dollars, and there was going to be a big check and all this, and they had a car that was going to be like a Maserati kind of thing. Uh, but to get the car, you have to give us you have to give us a card with uh, the money to pay for the gas to get the car. And I was like, honey, don't
No.
you? And she went, I didn't think so. I said, I understand. But your first thing is like, what if it's real? And it wasn't real. But
No.
but people do it and every day. And even if they just get you saying yes, don't ever
Oh,
say
I
yes.
know. I read that like 3 years ago,
Yes. Don't say
and
yes.
because they're recording.
Yeah. And
And
if
once
they
they
ask,
have that in your voice,
yeah, to
you're
go to your
done.
bank account. So when they say we are recording to make sure this is is this who I'm talking to? And you go, I am who I am.
Yeah.
Instead of don't ever say yes or say, well, I can't do it. But I'll be a gentleman today. I will be. But I tell you what, because my phone is broke, I got a new one, and I can't see who's calling, so I have to
Oh
answer.
no. Yeah.
So they get me all the time. But like I said, when they realize it's me, they hang up. But anyway, that's not metaphysical stuff. So we'll get back on
But it's
metaphysical.
still fun.
It's fun. But
Yeah.
it's part of humanity. We
Well, it
have
is.
uh you know you have think of us as spirits, as seeds in the soil. The
Okay.
dirt down here is the darkness, and the spirit is the plant going into the universe, going into the thing. And some people are just more comfortable in the dirt. They choose the
And I
dirt
never
because
understand that.
but well, because it's comfortable. It's because you don't have to try. To grow, you have to try. You have to
Well,
accept.
I'm yes.
And I know people right now that are doing some things, man. That I thought had gone away, for a long time, and just rolling in it like a dog in feces, and because since you know there's just a part of us that's so old, we feel comfortable in the darkness. We have to have both. We have to have both because
Well, it's a
that
yin and a
is the
yang,
life.
right?
Yeah, light and dark. You don't have dark without light. You don't have light without dark. But it's the choice. And and at this point, since I'm at my age, I'm kind of like going, well, I want to be happy. I want to chase butterflies and ghosts, and I want to pet cats, and I want to have fun and do art and do books and do this. And I've had to run into some really big bumps in the road with people in the darkness. And it's, which we won't get into that right now. I would like the lights to stay on. Thank you. But, yeah, but, it's an interesting time spiritually, I think, for people.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things that are happening because with most with the accepted religions, when I was young I was a Baptist. I mean, and it was totally different in a way when I was young than it is now. It's totally
Yes.
not what it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Not that it was what I needed when I was a kid, it was, but it was what I was raised in.
But it was
uh,
still very different.
it was very different, and preachers still had a small salary, and they had a
Mhm.
house for them to
Well,
live
they
in.
had their house. Yeah.
And then, I mean, I saw where it changed when our preacher went from being a humble person in a little house, a little parish house kind of thing, and to a Mac mansion hanging off the
Yeah.
mountain in Chattanooga, you know, and that's when it all changed. It all became about money, baby. It became about money, numbers, and get them in there. And what does it get
Yeah.
in there? Uh, and a lot of it, to me, when I was a kid, I was very much, because people would say I was I've had people say you were the skinny kid with the cowboy boots and the Bible, because I was a Bible thumper.
Right.
And but I was always like, the center should be, the Christ energy, the idea of beauty, and the
Yes.
idea of God, and being a good person, and fighting bad things. And then the hate speech really started creeping in. It's not about Christ anymore. This is not something Christ would be for. And and regardless of anyone who thinks, well, Christ exists or didn't exist or whatever, the idea of the Christ energy exists because, if
Yes.
nothing else, millions and millions and millions of people have focused on it. It
Yeah.
exists in a form or fashion regardless of whether you believe it existed or not.
Right.
But when the hate came in, and they defend hate speech, and I'm like, you're speaking hate in a church,
Yeah.
you know, and I've known of people who've been chased off from churches because they were poor and they couldn't
Yeah.
put money in the till. And I thought,
I
man.
have seen those churches.
And so the thing about organized religion, it's going to go through a thing now because it's pushed itself, because now it's political,
Yeah.
and that will sink it. I mean, that will kill a lot of the younger kids going, oh, I don't want to be a part of that. And then what will replace it if it collapses? It will be other things, or
Well, that's what it was in the 70s. I
in the
mean,
70s. Yeah.
because it's cyclic. It
Yeah.
is cyclic. And I don't think that right now we're going to see the church crash like it did.
Well, it's not going to. Well,
Because
yeah.
of what?
I'll go
Because
ahead.
now they've made a martyr.
Yeah.
And that particular person actually lived his walk. And so now that is why that's why we're in the position that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And so, if that would have worked and done what it was what the outcome that was sought was.
Yeah.
But that was not the right target to do that.
No. No.
And
Well,
so,
yeah, and
but
maybe I
now,
shouldn't say crash. I don't
yeah,
think it'll crash. It's always going to exist in some form, but the
but we
modern,
went through this in the 70s,
yeah,
you know,
oh
and
yeah,
then,
oh yeah,
because you went, well, with Nazism, and then with, you know, David Wilkinson going into behind the Iron Curtain and doing the evangelism. And because I still remember seeing him, he came
yeah,
and talked to us. And then he actually wound up being one of my heroes. So I've never known anybody that brave in my whole real life,
yeah.
right? But there's, and I'm a Christ follower, but I don't like churches
Well,
because
yeah,
that's a and that's a really big statement. I feel like, because
yeah,
I have not, as an adult, found a church that I felt comfortable in.
yeah,
We went to one because they had a great youth program, but it was real petty for the adults and
yeah.
stuff. And so I do my own worship and I do my own Bible study, and I live my life as well as I can. But I
Sure.
do have a relationship. Mine is not just a transactional religion, mine is a relationship religion. And I don't, I can't understand being so angry. That's not true. I have a temper. Okay. But I
Well,
can't imagine
well, that's part of being human, my dear.
it
And
is.
it's all
But
right
I
to have
can't,
a temper. It's okay to have a temper and an outrage,
well,
and as long as it's not destructive.
right. And I can't imagine ever going out and doing something like we saw, even
No,
even if it were to be something that was affecting me directly, or you know maybe my kids.
yeah,
But definitely I can't imagine doing something
violent.
that that final for someone. And I had an abuser, and it was a terrible abuser. He abused my sister too, and I did try to push him out a window once, and I would have if I had been able to. And that's when I realized that,
Yeah,
we're all capable of that violence with the right triggers.
of course, and
And
that's part of human
I like
nature.
that now.
It's
So,
yeah, but you saw it. You didn't push him out the window,
not,
and but well, I mean,
but I mean, I could have done something else later. I saw that and I was horrified and I backed
yeah,
away from that anger,
yeah,
which is what you're supposed to. I took it as a learning thing because, you know, it was, and I wasn't defending me at that time. I was defending my sister. And that's where, you
yeah,
know, because we didn't have a grown up who would.
yeah.
So it was one of those things. I don't even know how I got on this, but
Well, we're talking religion, and well, I'll take it to a little metaphysical thing.
okay.
Because first of all, anyone who's doesn't know who I am, I am I'm a witch. I
Yeah.
was a Christian, but when I was 11, I just knew I was a witch. And when people hear the word witch, they go devil, devil, and it's like
No.
no, it's not that kind of thing. It's the earth based person
Paganism.
who feels they're
The
in
pagan
it,
witch.
and the Christ
Would you say you were a
energy.
pagan witch?
Hmm? Say
Would
what?
you say that you were a pagan witch?
Well, when I was young, I didn't like the word pagan, so I don't always identify as a pagan.
Okay.
Because I think that's what Christians use to try to make us sound less than.
Uh-huh.
And I know there are some people who own it, and blah, 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 but I'm like, I really just identify as a witch. But then
Okay.
people think, well, because you're a witch, you know, well, no, because the
You could
devil,
work with the devil, is what people think?
well, they think that you're worshiping the devil instead of Christ or the consciousness or God or whatever or something good. And it's like, no, the
No.
devil is really a Christian belief thing.
Mhm.
There, I mean, there's an actuality to it. Is it what I worship? Hell no.
Nope.
Do I the what I choose to do is, and especially, I was, Wiccan and
Yeah.
witches and stuff. We're very earthy. It's like we're part of the earth. We're part of the consciousness. We're part. The sky is our church.
Yeah.
The trees are. We relate to everything. Everything has a spirit. Everything has an energy, and but people try, well, suffer not a witch to live. I've had someone say that to me before, and I'm like, well, first of
Did they
all,
mean it? Were they
oh
saying it
yeah,
at you
yeah, yeah,
like a
in my
threat?
face, because his wife was metaphysical. And he goes, suffer not a witch to live, and I said, suffer not you to be free for very long if you try that crap. And I
Oh my
said,
gosh.
that's anti-Christian. And acting using a Christian tool, which actually someone years ago, I believe it came to translation. It wasn't not suffer a witch to live, but it was suffer not a poisoner to live. I
Right.
think it's what one version of it was, because poisoners were a real thing.
Yeah.
You think the witch made your milk go bad, but let me tell you what, a poisoner will put poison in your food and your gloves and your clothes and get you. And a poisoner was a real problem, but because it was politically manufactured, let's because that was a way to go after women, to go after anyone different, anyone that had a different opinion than you could say, well, I think they're a witch, and
Hmm.
then you couldn't prove yourself, because
Prove
you know
yourself by not surviving.
they're not surviving. Well, if they drown, they're innocent. If they float, they're guilty. So we'll kill them.
Yeah.
And I thought, these Christian ideas like that were kind of crazy. Um,
Maybe a
so
bit. But
because
it was universal because,
yeah,
they have the Scottish Witch Memorial that they
oh
opened last summer.
yeah,
And a friend of mine's brother I think he's still over that. But, yeah, they were worse than we were in Salem. I mean,
yes. And it
it was,
it was a way to go out to control people, to
yes,
hurt people, to make someone beneath you. And
yes.
I know a German lady named Elfie who said when in the town she came from in Germany, there was a witch tower. And what would happen is in the 1400s, 1600s, whenever it was being used, if you had red hair, you were a witch. And
Well, there goes Lori.
they would take you and torture you and kill you. And people were dyeing their hair with walnut stain to make their hair not look red, because if you have red hair, you could be killed. And then that kind of stuff. But as a witch, I mean, I enjoy channeling. I do things that a lot of people don't understand, but I try to help spirits. I try to help people communicate with their dead. I try to do things that are positive. Um, and then we get to be the dustpan for people saying, "Well, that's evil." Well, I think it's a little evil in the churches calling for hate against people, against gay people or anyone different, or there are churches that have called for the death of people. And it's
Yes.
like you don't hear an outrage over that. You don't hear the outrage because we are so the frog in the water that has gotten from warm to hot,
It's pretty
and
freaking hot right
we
now.
pretty freaking hot. But that's okay because there are people. It's at a tipping stage, and people are fighting back, and things will change, and things will calm down. And will it ever get normal? Nothing is ever normal. You
There is
know,
no normal.
there is no normal. People have always been killing everybody since they crawled out of wherever they crawled out of.
Yeah.
And but the Christian religion has taken a big chance on pushing the hate speech. And a lot of young kids that just don't care for that crap. And some are going for it and some are going against it. And to me, there's very little Christ in a church that speaks hate. And people who are Christian need to start listening to what they're saying, what they're speaking, and speaking this hate and spitting out hate. It's like, that's not. Is that what Christ would do? Don't do that. And there are actually Wiccans are actually like a Christian form of witch because it's
Yeah.
like harm none, do what you will, help
Well,
people,
and
do it.
you know
And
the
there were witches who would be mad over me saying that, but it's really a derivative of, they've taken the concept of what Christianity was and taken it and put it into an earthy form and then pushed it, but
yeah.
um but just saying you're a Christian don't mean nothing to me anymore. It's like, don't tell me what
Well,
you
you
are,
have to be living
tell
it.
me what you're
Show
doing.
you. Yeah. I mean, you have to. It is a show me,
It is a show me.
and
And
that's why I said that I felt like I heard some of the early stuff that Kirk was saying. I don't think that that's where he was when he died, but I do know what you're talking about. And, I'm just kind of like, we don't need rhetoric. We need compassion and, and
well, calmness.
just, we
And
do
let's
need calmness. And
and
no matter what you're trying to get across from whatever area you're in, you know, if you're yelling at the top of your lungs and you're pounding the table and you're, you know, belittling or agitating, and it has to be real agitation. It can't be, oh, my feelings are so hurt. It has to be real. You don't do that.
no,
You know, you know,
no,
feelings are different for everybody. A
yeah,
true threat, that's real. And, it's just like we forget. I have been mad and said things that I probably would have gotten my mouth popped for if I were not a girl. But
of course.
you know, but it's you sit there and you look, and if, because of my temper, I've gotten to where if I have an issue, I'll walk away.
Yeah.
If I stand there, I'll be single or I'll be beat up or I'll be,
Yeah.
something.
Well,
But
and it's very possible
yeah,
nowadays.
it is.
Just even if you calmly have an opinion to tell, that's the thing of where they try to overwhelm
Yeah.
the meek. But the thing is, if you wait long enough, the haters and the hateful will burn themselves out because they'll eat each
Yes.
other. Because
Yes.
they want to fight. They want to fight. Well, if that
And
person's
that's
not
all
fighting,
they want.
and
It's
then
all they
it's
want.
I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna get you, and then they turn on each other and start gnawing on each other's legs, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
my lord. And it's and you know um, I've seen a huge rise in fascination with demonic stuff and fascination with dark magic and hurting people and
Yeah.
killing people
Yeah.
and and some of it, I mean, I've had to deal with. I have my own understanding of demonology. I don't like to
Mhm.
deal with it. I don't want to be around it, but I have to deal with it in my work.
Right.
And but I have seen some things lately where I was like, wow, this is like back to the 60s on a budget. And but
Well,
it'll burn itself out real quick. Oh yeah, we'll talk about it at some other point. But
yeah.
but
I'm going to be
but
down there. We'll have lunch and talk about it.
yeah, we'll talk about that because there's a lot to talk about. But I will tell people one thing: when if people with demons and things like that, I think the concept of of the devil, the Christian thing of it, there's two or three different types of things to look at. But
Yeah.
because there's the politically created idea and whatever. But anytime there's a church, there's a billboard I pass going to Chattanooga that I just love. It has a big devil with wings and a tail, and it says, "Go to church or the devil will get you."
Yes. My
And
grandson tripped out the first time he noticed that
I,
sign.
I love it. But
Yeah.
but when you see, I mean, when I have seen some energies that have those, they're pretty far. They're not cute little red devils, but they have the
Yeah.
wings and they have the stuff, and you go, oh, that stuff is still alive, still there, being worshipped, being fed. And what I'm doing is not bashing Satanists, and I'm not going to bash Christians. It's not. I'm not trying to bash Christians. I'm trying to say, but Christians shouldn't bash other people. If you don't like
Mhm.
gay people, you don't like trans people, you don't like other religions, fine. Why don't you just talk about Christ and what Christ would say, and how about going out and helping somebody?
Yeah.
And the witches out there, quit. The lighter witches do some work to try and help bring
Cool.
unity, and the darker ones go yourselves, and because it's going to eat you anyway, so go right for it.
Yeah.
They need, I mean, there's more, I mean, the earth needs more dirt. So but you can't say you're a Christian and want to hurt people and scream at people
No.
and cause death and pain and
Yeah.
agony. You need to, it's spiritually destructive, and
Yeah.
we're just all going through a spiritual thing, and it's been very interesting. Now I've had to dust off a lot of old me from my old training, and I've
Mhm.
had to really go, all right, this is who you are. I've had to deal with some things that were not fun, that were not healthy, being shot at me, and I found out I'm old. I don't care. I don't overthink it. And I'm a mean old witch if you want me to be one, but I'm not really going to be one. Um, I just know what to do and do it, and just say, get away from me.
Yeah.
But that's not the way of the world. It's a total. There are people out there just totally wanting to kill or destroy, or if you're not me
Yes.
or with me, or I can't get you or use you, I want you dead. And it's a very small portion, but it's enough. We need to be vigilant over.
And it's really weird because if you come across one, like, not your skill set, right? But
Yeah,
still read people.
yeah.
And, you know, I walked by somebody, like, I don't know, south side of Birmingham or something. Anyway, I was walking and he walked by me and I was just like, whoa. I mean, I knew what that was, knew what I was too,
Yeah.
and caught that attention. And I was just like, you don't want to go there. and just kept going. And but I mean, it was that immediate, oh my gosh, this is not this is not somebody I want to interface with.
Oh no.
And but but it was funny because it's very rare that somebody recognizes me because I don't present as,
Yeah.
a spiritual warrior kind of person. But I know that when somebody does recognize that they're pretty tuned in because that
Or
was like a dead whip, you know.
yeah, or they can, there are so many vampiric type people out there. They just see energy and they just know it. They just go towards it regardless of what it is. And you
Yeah.
have to know, is it, you have to be able to differentiate, is it because they see something in you that they like, or is it because they see something in you they want? And
This
be
was
different.
both. Yeah.
And I hope
This
that
was
what
not
we're
somebody
talking about
wanting
is
to hit on
good. Yeah. I hope that people
not
watching, I
somebody
hope
wanting
they
to
know
hit on
that.
me. It's that they wanted to challenge me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't think
Yeah.
so. No.
No. You
So
just turn them, say, beat it.
yeah.
I just tell them, beat it, hippie. You know, beat it. Go
Well,
on.
I had not had that happen very much at that point. I didn't really know what to do, but I knew what that energy was.
Yeah.
And it was
Oh.
so negative. Yucky.
Ooh. Yeah. Well, there's a
Yeah.
lot. I would say, along with all the other things I did not expect to see rise, like, Nazism, fascism, uh, demonology, and devil worshiping has risen, you know. And there are some devil worshippers that are, and people in the dark arts that are okay. They're just, they just kind of do their own thing. And then there's some that are just intellectual.
Yeah.
And then, but what I've had to deal with is shock jocks, and um, so it's been very interesting. There's but it's like it's like a sore that's just growing, and filling up with bad stuff, and it will pop or it will be lanced, and and it has to go the full cycle. So if everyone that's positive can just hold still long enough, you're going to see it. You're going to see it. It won't go back to the way we expect it to, but it will go back to being dealable, you know, because nothing ever goes back to what it was. That what it was is what it was. Now, here's the
Yeah.
new now. What are we going to do with the new now?
Yeah.
Who is the, we have to look at us, and you have to know who you are so you know how to deal with the new now. And I think it's going to be okay. I think we've gotten through, I mean, like I said, we're going through a lot of changes, and it's scaring. I know some people that are just have been terrified, and they're terrified, and I know people are losing their medical and can't buy their food,
Yeah.
and can't get money that they were authorized to have. And you can't, I mean, at some point, you know people, you mess with people's incomes,
They
food,
break.
they pay, honey, you better be on a diet so you can run to the helicopter.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, you don't, when a redneck breaks, it breaks, and I come from
Yeah.
it, so I can say it. I am a redneck, so I know. So it's, and I'm not insulting rednecks, um, because believe me, I am one. Came
Well, we
from
can be
one.
your best ally or your worst nightmare. There's really not an in between.
No, well,
So,
actually, I mean, you want people who at some point will do what you're afraid to do. You know,
Yeah.
you have to have the person that'll go out there and fix the chicken so you can eat it. You want the
Yeah.
person who can be brave enough to say, hey, no, you know, you want
Yeah.
that. So,
Lori says she hangs on to love and light. That's actually why she has me. So I'm her yin to her
hopefully, well,
yang.
we've talked about how it weirded people out or anything. I know we've gone all over the place. I didn't mean to get into a little religious.
No, you're fine. I just saw that right there when I read it. So
Uh,
I thought I'd
but
just say it
yeah,
because I tried to share the comments. So
yeah. I've had a long week full of weird stuff. Let me tell you, but but
hey, April.
you know, as being a psychic and looking at things, you know, it's really been very, very. I see some very positive things, you know, even and so I feel 6 months ago I was I really was stressed. There were some really, you know, bad things coming down the old Hershey Highway that was gonna, you know, giving me, just lots of stuff. It was just, and I think everyone, it was so much being thrown at people that were getting off kilter, me as well, you know, and I had to find my center. And now I'm like, no, I feel like I think it's gonna be okay, you know, and the problem with the hate stuff is that it brings hate and violence,
Yes.
and it's not going to end without there being bloodshed because that's what people want. So, you know, that there'll be there. I mean, it always seems to happen, you know, but it's sad in the world that, you know, people should not be happy over people dying, but they also should not make it where it's a relief. That's the only relief you have is for someone to go away, you know.
Well, I
um
would, again, I think they chose the wrong target.
of course they did. Well,
And I
they
think,
shouldn't have chose that target like that at all, but it's
and
the people think that's how to make things go away, and
yes,
it's like, no, you know, that you have to deal with. This is the way we are. You have your words, you have to mean your words have power. You
right.
have to stand behind those words, whether it means button heads or not. um to kill someone doesn't get rid of the problem.
No,
It creates another problem.
yeah,
And there are people who will look at that situation and use it as a tool. And it
they
might have
already
been a
have.
tool, and it already, well, and it may have been a tool to begin with, you
Yeah.
know, that to incite, you know, to give a reason. And people are still doing sacrifice, you know, whether they're sacrificing a chicken or whether they're sacrificing a person to be able to get, say, well, wait, you know, to as a ways to an ends to a means or a means to an end. um so, you know, it's politics,
Yeah.
and people don't have
Well,
really anything to do with politics because politics now isn't just about the rights we have, it's about money, and
it
we're in
is
the way of
funny.
money.
Yeah.
And but it's not anyone else's money to fool with. Let me tell you
Nope.
what, anyone listening within my voice, the money that is out there is your money. These people, you're not working for them, they're working for you.
One would hope.
And
Yes.
one would hope. But the money that's out there is not theirs. That's not theirs. They're supposed to be help guiding it, but a lot of the stuff that people think, you know, and we should be so kind to the ill, the aged, the elderly, the disabled, And that's the targets because, there's a mindset that always wants to kill and take away what they think those people are taking from them. And because they could use it to what? Buy something, a bigger house, to impress someone else with something bigger. That there is money being wasted that could have fed 1 million people a day.
Yes, there
So,
is. And that is why I hate politics. I was
oh,
fairness, I was a political science major, okay?
yes.
Because I found it fascinating. But when we're not putting back, our taxes keep going up, property taxes keep going up, road taxes, blah, 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 blah. But there's not, we should not have anybody hungry here. We have
No.
so much money.
We have so
And we
much money.
spend, when you start looking at the budget, that's why when they started doing that, the thing that Elon Musk went into, when they started
No.
looking at all of the money in all of these places that was just flying in the billions out the door to places that nobody knew anything about. And I mean, were they a little ridiculous? Yeah. But the stuff that they were finding, if a third of that was true, would have fed it would have fed most of our population that was hungry.
Yeah, but did they
And we're
fix
just
it?
doing it.
But they did all that stuff, but did they fix it? Did they? I
Well,
mean, uh, a lot of people. I mean, I don't think we're better economically right now.
I think that
Um,
we will be because they did close that USAID thing where we were sending all of the
yeah.
money away before we were taking care of our people.
Well, and we
And
need to take
yeah,
care of our
there's
people.
room for both, but there's
There's
room for
room for
both.
both. And there
And
needs to be oversight, but it needs to be
yes,
done correctly through
yeah,
the channels that are created to do our
the
laws.
channels that were
Now,
already in place were the reason we had that
yeah,
situation.
well,
So you have to find a
there's
balance between them.
yeah, and there's never going to be an easy fix for anything. But we
Well,
need to
that's why
fit.
it's
But we do need to feed our people. But the thing with like taking away people's Medicaid and stuff like that,
yeah,
um, the money that people are getting on SSI, SSD, all that, it goes into the economy
yeah.
in its cycles. It's not being given to somebody and not put back. Everyone that gets SSI and SSD will tell you, I buy my food, I
Yeah,
pay my rent, I do it.
you're spending it in the
It's going
economy.
into the economy, and when you stop it going from them, then where is it going? But
Yeah.
it at one point it is circulating into the system. You can't just put a stop to things and go and then not have something to replace it or
Yeah.
to uh you have to keep the machine going.
Well, you
And
do, but the things that I was talking about were the things that were leaving our
yeah,
system, the
yeah.
things that were
Oh well,
going
there's five
across the
million
ponds
dollar
or
toilets. I mean, we've always since I was a kid, you always heard about 10 million,
1,000. Yeah,
$5 million toilet seats and
yes, and that's been an ongoing
hammer.
thing. What is
Yeah,
that they said in Independence Day? You don't really think they spent $1,800 on a hammer, do you? I
yeah.
mean,
Well, on paper,
but
yeah.
yeah,
And it's never going to change. Once you have money, you're going to always have someone stealing it.
you are.
The thing is that we as people, though, we always have to remember there are people behind the problems. There are people that need to be fed. There are poor
Yes,
people who don't know how to function without help. We are the richest country in the world. We need
yes,
to be helping our poor and our sick and our elderly.
and
And
not
I think that we'll go back
and
into it.
yes. I mean, you take care of yours, And then once everybody is taken care of, then you will
Then,
have more to
yeah,
share. But
well,
you take
and then
care of what is yours,
you
and
can help
then
other people.
yeah,
It gets outrageous. It gets crazy, and
yeah,
it's but spiritually, I think this is a good thing that I think that will all happen with everybody because I think there are a lot of people will reassess who they are before all of this is over, and when it
I
kind
hope
of
so.
chunks, then they can reset their spiritual Geiger counter.
Yeah,
Um, the thing with this generation that's
the
different,
new
I think,
one,
than any that have come before is from when I was in junior high school, we were carrying pocket knives. We knew how
yeah,
to, we learned how to do stuff, how
yeah.
to survive a little. I know people
Lived
from my
outside
era
the
that
house a little.
yeah. And
Yeah,
in the newer generation, they haven't had to do that. They wouldn't know how to grow their own. That now that if they had internet, they could look up how to grow their garden or how to do. But
but
think about if
if we
if
have
we didn't.
a pulse attack,
Oh,
then
and it's
there
gone.
is no internet, and they're gonna freaking starve.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
I mean, when
that's
people were panicking over not having toilet paper, and I'm like, honey, they went centuries without toilet paper.
yes.
Um,
Just make sure you know what
so
poison ivy looks like. I
yeah,
mean,
you know, you know, but
yeah,
less people would know without the internet, without the help. They wouldn't know what to do. They would
yeah,
panic. And it's
yeah,
like we need to get back to a good old days kind of thing, which I think we will.
yeah,
Where that's why, like in the '70s, when all the oil crunch and all that, I love Little House on the Prairie. I just wanted to. I was like, oh, I would love to have lived. I'd love to have mom, and pa, and
yeah.
be able to work in the field and live in the country and have somebody behind your back and that was when we had to go back to the good old days thing during the
Yeah.
bicentennial, and we'll get back to it, but we need people, but people don't need to lose spiritual hope. They don't need to lose
No.
conscious hope. This all of this stuff will calm down.
Well, it is cyclic.
And
I
we've been talking
mean,
about
it
this stuff
hasn't.
that it's probably good for people, but
Well, I mean, it hasn't been that long ago that we were almost in this same situation. It is cyclic.
yeah. And
You're never going to have true peace and tranquility as long as you have humans doing this crap, right? Because
no,
we are so imperfect. But
well,
it's so interesting. I was going to ask you, can you imagine if we didn't have the technology that we have and we had COVID?
yeah, if people would
People would
have
have been,
lost their minds. I think they kind of
yes,
did in a way,
they did
but
to a degree. Yeah.
but it was good to
But
reset the earth because it gave it a break.
I had the most
People,
beautiful skies, and they lasted for 2 days after we got back
yeah,
open.
there was less smog. There was less. There were animals in towns and stuff, and everything kind of took a took a reset.
The earth rested.
But people thought it was the end of the world,
People
and
did.
people were
People
freaking
were,
out. People were paying $20 online for a roll of toilet paper, $20
yeah,
for a bottle of sanitizer, and oh God, this is terrible. And there were people who killed themselves. I mean, Lisa
yes,
Marie
that was,
Presley's son killed himself because he couldn't handle
yes,
the what was going on, and we don't know how many people died from that.
yeah,
And at the beginning of all of it, they thought there would be millions of people laying in the street, rotting and dying.
yes.
Which
They
is
actually anticipated that. They actually had a plan in place to remove them.
yeah. So, and guess what? We got through that.
We did.
We got through the '60s with people
Yeah,
killing the president. with our
Yes.
icons being murdered, and you know,
Yes.
Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy Jr., Marilyn
Yeah.
Monroe, and and
Yeah.
it just, and out of all of that horrible stuff, all came all this color and funny
Yeah.
stuff and creativity
Yes.
and things as an escapism to counter the horrible stuff. And a lot of growth came out of the 60s. It was a very dark, horrible time for some
Yes.
people. And it was also, there were so many great things in it.
Yeah.
And we have so much now that, we all need to, but we just have to develop who you are as a person, and see your eyes on the prize, and don't listen to all the other crap going on, and
Well,
just,
and that's the ticket, right?
yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
the,
just have to live your life, live your best life, help where you can, do no
yeah,
harm, and just just be the
do what you can do.
best you. Yeah,
Yeah, be the best you. Now, if somebody comes after you,
that's different.
then pick up a stick and whack them in the head. But
Yes. I
because
mean,
if
you
I
don't
mean,
let
if you have
somebody
to
do
defend
that, but
yourself, you know, I believe in doing things in a proper manner, doing things legally and doing all that. But if somebody crosses that line and comes for you,
yes,
physically,
that's different.
then you don't make yourself a doormat.
No.
People miss the point of, like with Wicca, harm none, do what you will. But that's like, I watch I know somebody watches a lot of cowboy movies, and they always portrayed these women as, oh,
Oh,
are you kidding me?
not a chance in
They're
hell.
women. They would be able to shoot you, cut you up, and serve you for supper. And it's like, they weren't wilting violets. We
No.
don't need to be wilting violets. You can be positive, but you can be
You can't be
positive.
positive, but you can also
Yourself.
take care of yourself.
Yeah, you have to,
I mean,
because sometimes nobody else will.
that's what I was
So,
going to
but
say.
don't, but it's okay to stand up for yourself. And it's okay, but if you have to stand for yourself and it means you have to pick up a stick and defend yourself, don't feel bad about that. It's just, but try to do it has to be the last resort. you
Yeah.
know Always try to do it with your mind and with your spirit.
Yes.
And but there are some people who ignore that, and do it as positive as you can, and try not to go into a violent thing, because there are people that want to pull people into violence. And then
True.
that is that all that happens is you get pulled into the tar, and what drives
And
them
they get
crazy
their
are
rocks
you.
off on that, right?
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah. Oh, I
I
said,
mean,
go ahead.
I just, because I just said, people get, there are those people that get their rocks off doing that,
Oh,
kicking
well, they
you
use it as
out
the
of your,
excuse. They
yeah,
use it as the excuse, and
yes,
people fall for it. And believe me, I've had people pull my chain. They didn't like pulling my chain after they pulled my chain,
right,
but because I'm a sweetheart, but
yeah.
don't go, where other people don't need to go.
Yeah, I think
But
that's what, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I
No,
was going to
you.
say, because we sound like this a lot of times,
Yeah,
I get, and I used to have a t-shirt that said, go ahead and underestimate me. That'll be fun,
and
but,
yeah, I love for people
because we
to
sound like
underestimate.
this.
Now, because I'm a witch, there are people who do magic
It's because you're Southern and a witch.
and a witch. And what I love is people who think they know witchcraft or energy. There are some people who are really good at it. There are some people who think they're good at it.
Yeah.
And I love it when they underestimate me or they send something at me that has their basically they don't know how to cloak their energy signature, so it'll have like their name on it, and I just want to go, girl, you need to go back to school. Who taught you that, or who didn't teach you that? Because you
Yes.
suck. And then they would be so mad. I'm like, honey, it's like somebody bringing you a macaroni picture, and you go, thank you. I'll put this on the refrigerator when you're gone, and put it in the car
Yes.
because I have seen some, and then I've seen people who know how to shoot it, but they don't know how to control it. So,
Yes.
which is good for other people. But it's like, but I'm like, girl, you know, yeah. And see, as a witch, you have to sit there and go, okay, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's all right. You have your protection up and everything, and it's okay. But at a certain point, you have to say enough's enough. You know, and but the idea is not to strike to hurt people. The thing is just
Yeah.
let people go somewhere else. Let them leave you
Well,
alone. Let them live their life somewhere else.
people that do that with good intention can still stick you,
Oh,
because I had
yeah.
I had somebody that was behind me doing Reiki on someone, and instead of slinging to the ground, they were just doing that number, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Stuff
it
on
felt
you.
like a prickly pear stuck on my
Yeah.
elbow, and
Yeah.
I was like, "What
They slung it.
are
They
you
slung
doing?"
it. Yeah.
It took me forever to heal that. It
Well,
took me
it,
forever.
and I've known people who do energy work that have done it and infected people with other stuff that they had that they didn't know
Mhm.
they had because they don't know how they understand how to get the energy up and how to do the mechanism, but you have to understand your core, the nucleus of your energy. And if you don't
Mhm.
understand that, or it's real hard for people. I mean, I've taught someone before. I kept trying to get them to feel their ectoplasm. There's a way to get it, because your aura and everything. You have plasma. Everything's electromagnetic plasma,
Okay.
and you can feel your own ectoplasm. And people have a real hard time doing that. And I'm like, if you can't feel it and get it, then how are you using it? But they're using it, but they don't know how to control it. And so, but I've had people, I don't let people touch me in my energy or give me massages or do anything like that anymore. And I've had people try all sorts of things, and it's like, nope, 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 nope. My energy isn't for other people to put their hands on. Um, which is not good. I mean, not that you can't get massages and stuff, but for me, it's
I
not
was going to
my.
say, because I am so getting a massage every chance I
Yeah.
get.
But see, for me, I can't stand massages, but it's
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. I don't have some of the muscles on the back that
Right.
need to be massaged anyway. I was born without the triangular shaped one, so it's like it's all kind of bony.
Right.
And but I just don't let nobody touch me. But I have seen people get infected with stuff that came from the person who was supposed to be the healer. And when you see a sick healer,
Mhm.
that means they're probably a good healer, bad energy technician. Because
Yeah.
if they're pulling in everybody's gunk, and you have to ground it, but you have to be careful how you ground it so that you don't put it on someone else, take it in, and that just comes down to technique. And but I've seen a lot of sick healers, and that's one reason I'm not a healer. It's because I know that it can really take. I put my energy towards something else that is my department.
Mhm.
But I have helped with people. I knew some witches from Massachusetts One time there was a friend of ours at the time, our acquaintance of theirs, that had cancer, and we all did the putting on of hands and doing energy work, and it got rid of the tumors. It freaked her
Really?
out. She freaked out and ran off, but it cured her cancer. And I was like, well, that was very cool. But
Yeah, it
they
is.
didn't take it that way. And but it's no different in Christian churches when they put their hands on you and use vibration and prayer to change.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing. It's the
Yeah,
exact same
it's the
thing.
same thing, and it works. If the mechanism is done correctly and works, then it works. But you got to know what you're doing so you don't take in the illness.
Yeah.
And that I don't know how that gets taught, but you know, but it's one thing people need to learn. It's like with witchcraft. I mean, I want to eventually. Yeah, I'm doing a book about how to do what I do as much as I can teach.
I would buy
But
that book.
oh
I
yeah,
will buy
well,
that book.
I'm gonna have a copy of it myself. But oh well, you can have a copy. I'll give you a copy. You and Lori. Um, but I tell you what, I would probably be a terrible master if I was in a church, in a school trying to teach people. I'd be like, "Darling, are you doing?" Because you can't get people to do the work. They want to do
Yeah.
it, but they don't want to do the work. And guess what? You got to
Yes.
do it. You got to get it in there to hear. And if you just do it a little bit, it'll do it. And but I mean, I'm going to try it, but and put it out there and hope that it helps people learn to get a little deeper into it. But I think it relies on the person. I think they if they want to do
It
it, they're going to
does.
do it. But
Yeah. It's completely individual.
there are people doing stuff right now that I'm like, ooh, girl, don't do that. I've seen some magic going, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, because they're gonna, ooh, the blowback on that's gonna be bad. Um, and it's just, and people going, I don't need protection, I'm protected,
Oh,
and then sticking their hands into the radiation, and wondering why they're getting eaten. I'm like, told you.
we have a question for you.
Okay, I have an answer, I'm sure.
It's from Tom McNicholas,
Uh-huh.
who is
Okay.
just amazing.
Yeah.
But he
Okay.
says, what is the difference between energy and positive vibes?
All right. Positive vibes. Now, if you're talking about you're sending out positive vibes, that would be the intent. The way I would look at it is if I were sending out positive vibes, that would be the intent.
Mm-hmm.
The energy I send would be the energy, the frequency. So the positive vibe would result off
Yeah.
of the intent. But the energy is I mean, you're a technician. So you're it's like you're loading a gun, putting that energy bullet in it, finding a way to um aim it and pull the trigger and have the delivery system to get the energy where you need it. The
Mm-hmm.
positive vibes, people can put out positive vibes. Everyone's kind of empathic, and you
Mm-hmm.
can just feel a positive vibe. Does that mean that it's good or bad? Or if it's positive, it's positive. Um, but if I do something, I always try to do it with intent.
Mm-hmm.
What's the intent? So the
Yes.
positive vibe could result from the intent. But the energy, I don't, the difference between the energy, the frequency is what you use to give the positive vibe, if that makes sense.
Right. So the positive vibe is kind of the vehicle that the energy travels on,
Yes. But your intent is what aims it,
pushes
shoots
it
it,
to start with.
puts it out. And so the intent is what makes it positive or negative.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so what you would have to do is, because it really, there's a movie I loved. I didn't think I would love it, but I loved it, and it was called Lucy.
Oh my
And
gosh, I love that.
but this
It's my
part
favorite.
where the woman is sitting there and she's seeing the phone calls and it's all threads, fiber optic
Yes.
threads. That's what energy looks like. And you
Okay.
have to find it through frequency. You find that thread, you pick that thread, and that's where you get your trail. And I went, that's what that looks like. And so watch that movie. Watch that movie.
I love
Uh,
that movie.
but that where she's reaching in for the vibes and pushing them and seeing the fiber optic thread. That's
Yeah.
what frequencies are. They're a fiber optic thread. Our silver cord that comes out of our
Yeah.
solar plexus that goes to the consciousness, it's a fiber optic thread. Everyone has a cord. Everyone has every thought ever you're shooting out, all this communication, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's it's everything is like that. It's like a thread, but it's just trillions and trillions and trillions of it. And you, as an energy technician, have to go, all right, I'm looking, say, I've been doing cold case works with
Right.
Sin Schroeder Hill and Shaw Wooten, which has been great. And I get them to put their stories into an envelope. They don't tell me anything. And then I tell them what's in the envelope, what the story is, or what I pick up off of the case. And the way I'm doing it is through psychometry in that case. But when I'm looking out to find information on a dead person or a missing person, a murder case or whatever, an unlived case, um, it's I start by thinking of the person, their frequency, and the name, which everybody's name, their energy vibrates to the frequency of your name. If you know their name, you can speak that name and you'll find the thread to it. It will magnetize to it.
Okay.
If you're if you're doing psychic work and you don't have the information, you're waiting for the information to come to you. If the person, say like Shar or Sin, is doing the case, they've come up with a case for me to look at, they know the information, so they already know the name of the person. So that name, they're thinking of that person, that vibrates to the frequency of the person who is missing. Then I'm picking up that frequency, it comes here, I process it, and I pick it up. So it's
Okay.
all about magnetizing and sending and learning how to take the energy and load it and understand what it is and what you shouldn't touch, and then magnetizing it to a target. So
Well,
next question.
we do have one. But April said, well, what about telepathic communication?
Well, same thing. I mean, I hear stuff all the time. That's because our third eye, our pineal gland,
Mhm.
has magnetite in it. Magnetite helps, it's an iron content, and we have the iron in our blood. So the
Mhm.
iron circulates, makes it, because of the heart, it circulates the blood, which is moving minerals, moving iron, and
Okay.
it sparks our third eye, which the pineal gland, because of the magnetite, creates an electromagnetic field that then we put the electromagnetic field out into the bigger electromagnetic fields out there.
Okay.
And then you hear, you feel, and again, it's about magnetism. If someone's thinking about you, they're shooting out that energy. You may pick it up. You may pick, if I remote view, I'm shooting that information out, reaching out to a certain location, which I've proven I can do. And that telepathy, there are some spirits that don't talk, they just think or feel. I have seen spirits that are so old and from somewhere else, they will just sit and stare at you. And there isn't anything for them. You don't pick up anything from them. You may they're
Oh,
just sitting staring at you, and you're like, ooh, they're beyond the language
beyond
kind of thing.
communication.
But when they think something, then you will process it like a translator.
Okay.
It has to kind of go through the consciousness, and then it comes out as translation. But you have to. But I telepathy is everyone has it. If
Yes.
you use the more that you understand your mechanisms, how to get your aura in order, get your aura working, that's your CAT scan, and it will
Yeah.
pick up the vibrations, and you will get the information. I have people right now that have been thinking about me in a bad way, and what's funny is I want to go, y'all really? You don't think I don't
Yeah.
hear that? And I hear it, you know, and it's just one of those things. But if I think about you, talk about you, that's a vibration, that's a frequency, and it will go to you telepathically, and it
Well,
all
we
comes from
have
here.
we have 3 minutes left, and we have one last question.
Okay, go for it. I'll try to keep it
April, it's easy. April said, "So, how do you exercise seeing and recognizing the energy frequency? How do you practice that?
how do you how do you well, I'm going to put that in my
How do you,
book, actually.
okay,
But because I have been doing it almost it's 45 years now going
yeah,
on. I have like a Teflon coating. I do meditation every day. I have a simple meditations, and I turn my energy up, I turn my energy down. I do all sorts of little things like that. But the more that you acknowledge it and use it, the better of a tool it becomes, and then eventually it just becomes natural. And then your CAT scan picks it up, and it will tell you if it's filtered, if it begins to get thick or negative energy. Negative energy is a thicker material. So if your filtering system is going and there's something trying to you have like a virus scan. I mean, a virus protection. It's your aura. So if it's too thick or there's something wrong with it, or they pick up the information in it that they know is parasitic, then it will just reject it. It doesn't
okay.
go into your system. That's why you need to be protected. That's why you need to turn on your aura and be able to turn it up, turn it down, turn it up, turn it down.
And
Never
you do
turn it
that through
off.
your meditation practices.
Yes, and
You
just
work
you
on that
don't
through
ever
that.
turn it off. You turn it down. At the end of all my things, when I do my little 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
turn my light up, turn my little dial. You can put a little dial out into your aura, and you can go
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, turn it up. 1, 2, 3, dim it down. And at the end of it, but you always have to. I always do. I take a little bit of the light that's in my third
Right.
eye, turn on my aura, go 1, 2, 3, turn it on, and feel the sphere come around you. Go 1, 2, 3, and turn it up, and then use that energy. Get some in your hand and draw a circle around you to make a barrier to contain that aura. Then when you're working, you can go 1, 2, 3, turn it up, and be open for communication. When you're finished, always go 1, 2, 3 and dim it down, and go circle is dismissed but never broken. And what that does is that you don't turn it off. You don't turn off your aura. You don't turn off your protective system.
No.
You dim it down, and the system, by saying circle is dismissed but never broken, your brain understands that it's there, it's in use, but it's protected. You don't turn it
Yes.
off. And in that, when you do that daily,
You build
it
that
it
skill.
it builds up. You get a Teflon coating. and then stuff gets hot. That you'll start seeing the vampire people come in that want to suck up your energy. They get turned. They quit doing that because they can't get your energy. You become in control of the energy you're putting out,
Yes.
and you have to be in control of that. If you aren't, then other people just take a straw and sip it,
Yeah.
or worse, or worse. So did
Yeah.
I answer it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That was excellent actually. And we are out of time.
Well,
But
thank you for having me.
I can't wait till the next time. So thank you
Ah,
for being here.
well,
So
thank
I
you.
enjoy you so much. And for everybody listening, go to Amazon, Mark Elliott Fults, buy his books. You will not
Oh, thank you.
regret any of them. They're all excellent.
And
So,
yeah, wait, and Sin Schrader Hill and I we're doing some more books right now together. She's putting out some books. I've got some books. We got mean old
yes.
grandma's good old cookbook, which is like
Well,
this.
and thank you for directing me to Sin because
Oh,
that
she's great.
was one of my favorite interviews in a long time too.
Oh yeah,
So
and Teal,
she was
wait, I
awesome.
know, but so. But thank you for having me and everyone out there. I'm sorry my big mouth has gone from here to Kentucky, but here we are. So y'all have a
Well,
good
we do
week.
it together, right?
Yeah,
So,
we
and
try.
everybody said, have a great night and good night. And Lori said, great show. So I will see you next week
Sure.
and take care of you.
You
And
take
thank
care of
you
you.
again for being here. I will,
Oh, thank you.
but thank you.
Bye
See you
bye.
soon. And good night, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Same cat time, same cat channel. Good night.